Right then guys, how's it going and welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, what is normally your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news, but today will be your 1 month roundup because the January transfer window is officially over. Newcastle brought in 5 players, that's right, 5 players for a total of around £90 million, and in today's video we will talk about all of that and basically rate the window. Was Newcastle's January window a success? We will start off by going through each of the 5 players individually. I then want to talk about the positives we've seen in this window, and then not necessarily negatives, but things that maybe didn't go to plan, things that we could do better next time. And then, as I say, finishing off with a rating and discussing whether we think it has been a successful window. So, let me know your thoughts on all of that down in the comments below. And let's get started. So, to start things off, and the first person through the door on the 7th of January was Kieran Trippier. 31-year-old, right back from Atletico Madrid, current La Liga champion, Champions League playing, England international, Kieran Trippier. I mean, what a start that was. We've already seen him play in the black and white top, and you can see straight away he is a step ahead of the players we currently have. Not only has he instantly improved our starting 11 in that right back position, but again, we've already seen him in action. We can see him talking and organising. It was a fantastic start. It was rumoured at being at 20-25 million, which again, I think for the player we were receiving was still a good price. But then to find out it was closer to 12 or 15 million, I thought, wow, we have got a really good deal through there. And we knew that really centre-back was our high priority position, but still bringing in a defensive player to help solidify that defence was a top pull. And again, I think really set us up for this window as well. Not only has he instantly improved our starting 11, our squad, but off the field as well, it was a great initial signing to let people know that we are meaning business this January window. We've just pulled in Champions League, La Liga winning Kieran Trippier. Does anyone else fancy getting involved? So I think it was a really good first signing. The second signing of the January window followed very quickly after on the 13th of January when Chris Wood joined from Burnley. 30-year-old striker, big lad in the box, 25 million he cost us. That was the release clause that we paid out to get him up to Newcastle. And at the time, we were playing Watford just 2 days later and had no striker. We had no recognised first team striker. Callum Wilson injured and still is injured, I think, for another 4 to 6 weeks. And then we've got Dwight Gale, who again is sat at home on the Xbox or watching TV. So even at this point right now, Chris Wood is still the only recognised striker we have in our squad, which again, I would tend to agree that maybe 25 million was more than we would have liked to have spent. But the circumstance was that we had no striker and we had to play a game in 2 days' time. He's had a slow start in his Newcastle top in the games he's played so far, but I definitely think, again, with some of the signings I'll talk about in a moment, we can certainly get him up to speed very soon. The third signing of the window came quite a bit later, 17 days later, and just 2 days ago, on the 30th of January, when Newcastle announced the official signing of Bruno Gomeres, their 24-year-old Brazilian defensive midfielder from Lyon, for around, I think it's 33 million plus add-ons, which goes up to around 40 million. And for me, this is the big one. This is the statement signing. At the time, I thought Trippier was the statement signing, and I do still think Trippier is a statement signing in itself. Again, very established player, but I think Bruno Gomeres, again, is a player who has been linked with a lot of big clubs. I honestly think this guy probably could have quite easily gone to a team and played in Europe or Champions League, and we managed to get him, which is massive. I cannot wait to see him in a Newcastle United top on the pitch, I know I've seen the pictures of him already. But yeah, that was signing number 3, which again, with 48 hours left of the window, we're all desperate to see what's going to happen next, and I think that was the one that really hit it off. And finally, moving into deadline day, we had 3 transfers at this point, and we had already heard a few rumours who might be coming through on deadline day, but until it's announced, you can never celebrate too soon. And the 4th player to be announced by Newcastle was Matt Targett, the left back from Aston Villa. 26-year-old on a 6-month loan deal until the end of the season, which for me I think is a very smart signing. It's a player who knows the Premier League, plays in the Premier League. He was looking to leave Aston Villa after they brought Luca Dean in from Everton, who obviously plays in the same position. I think left back itself wasn't necessarily my highest priority. It was still centre back, and even at this point we still hadn't signed a centre back. Thankfully we do, and I will talk about that in a moment. But again, left back, Richie can't really play there. Dummett's always injured. Jamal Lewis has had injury troubles as well. Manquillo can play there, but he's right-footed. So we do have options, but I still think Matt Targett is better than those options. So a smart signing, happy to see him in. On a loan as well. Again, it hasn't cost us. I think it's a great deal. And then finally, with literally minutes left to go of the window, Newcastle brings in their 5th and final signing of the January window. And it was the centre-back that we were finally getting through the door. Dan Burn from Brighton, 29-year-old. He is actually from Blythe, so he is a local lad. He started his youth career at Newcastle, so we've brought him home. He is a Newcastle fan, and as I say, it was the centre-back we finally got through the door. For me, that was priority from the 1st of January. It took us till the 31st of January, but we brought a centre-back in, and that is the 5 players. So let me know your thoughts on each of them down below, and we'll kind of go through a little bit of a roundup. So as I say, for me, if you told me on day 1, because again, I know we have the new owners, everyone was very excited, we wanted to see money spent, we wanted to be active in the market, but as a Newcastle fan, we've never done that before. You know, this is the first time I think I can remember actually bothering to watch deadline day. And as much as we were getting excited, we've got the money, you still don't know what's going to happen. You still don't know if you will or won't spend the money. And as I say, if someone had told me day 1 that we were going to bring in 5 players and spend 90 million, I probably wouldn't have believed them, to be honest. So I am very happy with what we were able to achieve. And what is a very short, expensive window, I thought we did a great job. I did mention I was going to talk about negatives and what we could have done better, and I am going to do that. As I say, I think a couple of things for me, and again, don't get me wrong, what I'm about to say next does not cancel what I have just said about what I think the window was, which was a good window. Having said that, again, centre-back, that was our #1 priority, and it took us till 5 minutes before the end of the window to finally bring in a centre-back. Now, that isn't Newcastle's fault that we were linked with Botman and Carlos and whatever, and they asked for more money and nothing was easy. Like, it is a tough window, but I still think that maybe we could have tried to get, if they weren't going through, we should have been tying something else up sooner. As I say, I would have taken 2 centre-backs this window, to be honest. So that was one little negative for me. I think we should have really kind of done that a little bit better. I think another thing is an attacking player as well. I love the fact that, again, defence has a big problem for us. We brought in Trippier, Dan Burn and Targett. That's like 3 new defenders in a back 4. We also brought in Gomeres, who again is ultimately, he's a man of every talent. I think he can do everything, but he is ultimately a defensive midfielder. So, you know, that's another help for the defence. You know, attacking wise, we still struggle to score goals. And although we have brought in Chris Wood, again, maybe Targett and Trippier doing the overlap and crossing the ball in might be enough to help with that attacking threat, but I would have liked to have maybe seen another more attacking player in there. And then one other thing that I want to mention as well as a bit of a negative is everything we did was rumoured everywhere. You know, you look at the transfer that Aston Villa did for Callum Chambers, like there was literally no rumour. Just one day you woke up and there was a transfer done. So I don't know if I doubt that's Newcastle's fault. That's probably the agent's fault, trying to rise the price, trying to get more offers for their players. But literally it felt like everything Newcastle did was just constantly in the open eye. Whereas Newcastle's, we've just been loving and living it. Don't get me wrong, but it would have been nice to have maybe kind of had a few things behind closed doors that we could have just gone for, rather than it all being right out in the front the whole time. So again, those were a couple of things that I felt like we could have done better for next time. But again, as I say, complete perspective, we have brought in 5 players for 90 million. As I say, I don't think we've had that much net spend in the last 14 years. So yes, I think it has been a very good window. There's always things you can do better. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that down below. And to finish off, I wanted to give kind of like a rating and say whether I thought this window had been successful. So in terms of a rating out of 10, be sure to let me know your thoughts down below. And it is quite hard to give a rating, because what are you comparing it to? Because if you're comparing it to previous January windows, you may well give it a 10. Because we've brought in 5 players and spent 90 million. You know, maybe that is worthy of a 10. But try to take everything into account and kind of what we wanted from this window and the new owners, I think I give it a very solid 8.5. If we'd brought in that slightly more attacking creative player like Lingard or Akite as well, then I think I may well have given it that 9.5. Because I think that was like the final little piece in the puzzle I would have liked to have seen go over the line. But as I say, you know, the new owners have gone out there and have tried extremely hard. They're trying to fix 14 years worth of neglect in a 1-month window. And yes, we haven't brought in the most exotic players, but this is kind of the thing. It depends what you're kind of wanting from this window. Because for me, I'm not trying to win the league with this window. I'm not even trying to finish in the top 10 in this window. I'm trying to finish in 17th. So it's great that we brought in like a more exotic player like Gomeres that's got everyone excited. But ultimately, we've brought in players like Chris Wood, Matt Targett, Dan Burn. Trippier is a little bit more exotic, but still, we've brought in players who know the Premier League and are hopefully going to get us into 17th. Because that's ultimately what this window was about keeping us up in the Premier League. And I think they've given that a really good go. Which then moves on to, has this window been successful? I'll tell you at the end of the season. I'll tell you at the end of the season, because that's the thing. This window will be looked on as a success or a failure as to how well or how we finish this season. If we go on to finish in, I don't know, 12th, 13th, we'll have a 13th. So if we finish in 13th, people will look back and go, yeah, it was, wow, what a success. We've shored up the defence and Wood gave a great display up top. If we're finishing 17th, you'll go, well, you know, they got it right. They brought in the players that were needed to keep us in the Premier League. If we finish 18th, 19th, then people will say, well, they didn't do enough. You know, so I'm praying that this has been a successful window, and I am very confident that we have done a lot here in this January, especially compared to some of the other clubs that are kind of around those relegation spots with us. We have really gone out there and broke the bank, to be honest. We've really gone out and spent on these players. So yes, fingers crossed, we have indeed had a successful window, and we will find that out in a few months' time. But thank you for watching, guys. As always, let me know your thoughts on all the window. Hope you enjoyed the video, as always. I hope to maybe do something similar to this, but maybe for the whole Premier League in the next couple of days, so be sure to look out for that. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.